cat owners. Cat owners are liberals, cat owners believe in hate speech, cat owners are Democrats, cat owners are
He's famous for being a horrible person.
That's very disrespectful. I'm a territorial man.
Now I'm rich and he's still fat, so
Andrew Tate. He's the latest in what has been a long line of alpha male influencers to shoulder barge their way into the forefront of the internet's consciousness. So in this video, we're going to be covering how Andrew Tate went viral. But personally, I'm not actually that interested in Andrew Tate. I think he's a complete waste of oxygen. Instead, we're just using him as the titular character so we can understand why some controversy goes viral. As a psychologist, that's the more interesting question for me. Why does controversy go viral? What kind of controversy is the best for going viral? And how can we leverage those mechanisms to our own advantage? So that's what we're going to explore in today's video through the example of Andrew Tate. So after a bit of digging and reading some papers online, I found that controversy actually is made up of two major components that actually oppose each other in terms of deciding whether or not that information goes viral. The first component is interest. Obviously, controversial things are just inherently more interesting than uncontroversial things. Me saying I like pineapple on pizza is more interesting than it is if I say I like cheese on pizza. The controversy makes it more interesting. But controversy also has a second component to it, and that is discomfort. Because controversial things are, well, controversial, they make us uncomfortable, and that actually reduces the likelihood that people will talk about it. If I say that I like pineapple on pizza, it's interesting, but it does also make you a little bit uncomfortable. So when it comes to using controversy to go viral, it seems that the right dosage amount is correct. A little bit of controversy is good for sparking that interest, but going too far can actually turn people away as it makes them too uncomfortable. In the case of Andrew Tate, I actually think that a lot of the clips that go viral of his aren't too controversial. They're in that right Goldilocks zone of slightly controversial, but not so controversial that they're completely turning people off. Take this clip of him talking about discipline as an example.
Yeah, you're right. And if you don't have discipline, you don't have anything, right? People often say to me, oh, but Tate, you're lucky. You're a kickboxer and you were talented. Yeah, I was talented, but I didn't find out I was talented until I was disciplined. If I wasn't disciplined enough to train, I would have never seen my talent. Because the guy with less talent than me, who trained harder than me, would have been kicking my ass.
The way that he talks about discipline isn't too controversial. Yes, he is taking it to the extreme, and that's where that little bit of controversy comes in, but it's not that controversial as a concept. Discipline being important to success, most people can get on board with that idea. And so the takeaway is that more controversy isn't always better. Instead, you gotta be in that Goldilocks zone, and I think Andrew Tate, for the majority of his clips, is actually in that Goldilocks zone. But I know what you're thinking. Andrew Tate doesn't just talk about mildly controversial things. In fact, he talks about some really controversial things, and those clips also seem to go viral, if not more so. So what's going on there? Well, there's a couple other mechanisms in the human brain that might explain why those more controversial clips also go viral. Well, one reason could be our human tendency to select for negative information. Humans have a tendency to pay more attention to negative things than to positive things. And well, a lot of the quotes from Andrew Tate are very negative in nature. He talks about why people are losers, why they're not worth much. They're all very negative and derogatory, and as a result, people are more likely to pay attention to that information than if he was to use the positive counterpart. Another reason is that I think that some people, incels, think that the advice that he's giving is genuinely good. After all, he does portray himself living this super lavish lifestyle with multiple women around, and for people who want nothing more than to live his lifestyle, they might genuinely think that the advice that he's giving is worth it. Legendary psychologist Bandura would call this type of behavior no trial learning. In other words, people are trying to learn how to beat the system, not by participating in it, but just by taking the advice of other people who've succeeded before. In almost every domain of life, it's advantageous for people who are starting out in a field to copy others who seem to be successful. I try and emulate bigger YouTubers than myself in order to try and learn the techniques that they do in order to be successful. If you're a football player, then you might watch clips of Ronaldo or Messi or Neymar to try and learn how they control the ball so you can improve your own game. And well, the same thing applies to dating and relationships too. For the many lonely men who struggle to find romantic or sexual partners, looking to someone like Andrew Tate, who seems to have these things in abundance, is an alluring prospect. So I can totally understand why they would gravitate to someone as toxic as Andrew Tate. And then of course, after a certain critical mass, fame just breeds more fame. Humans are always on the lookout for social information, cues as to what people or things are important in their environment. If you're walking down a pavement and everybody stops and looks up at a building, then you're going to want to know what's on the top of that building as well, so you're going to stop and look up too. At the moment, it's Andrew Tate at the top of that building. Everyone is looking at him, and so more people will start to look at him. All you need for this to happen is for your fame to reach a certain amount of critical mass within people's network, and suddenly your name just spreads like wildfire. So in summary, these are the reasons why I think Andrew Tate has gone viral. One, a lot of his clips are in that Goldilocks zone of controversy. A little bit controversial, but not too controversial. 2, he talks about negative information which people have a bias towards paying attention to. 3, he portrays himself having this lavish lifestyle which a lot of people want to copy through no trial learning. And 4, he's reached this critical mass of fame which just breeds more conversation over time. So those are 4 reasons why I think Andrew Tate has gone viral. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video or you learned something, can you please give me a thumbs up? And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.